So this sounds like something you'd hear in a Pixar movie that you would bring Rylan and Brayson to, all right? So there was once this teenage boy who went to bed for 5 days. His parents thought he was sick. They thought he had mono, all right? He finally gets out of bed. His father, who was 6'3", says to him, "You're taller than me." He said that the doorway to the room was low. His hair kind of brushed on it. This boy's head suddenly struck that low doorway. His mother walks in the room, Marla, and she says, "Son, what are you standing on?" That boy was you.
Yeah.
Tell us, is that how you remember the story?
It's just like any other story. The legend grows the more you tell it. But yeah, there was a couple week period when I was in high school that I just kind of didn't really leave my room a whole lot. I didn't feel good. And yeah, like I just kind of had a huge growth spurt all at one time.
So what's a huge growth spurt, Chris?
I don't exactly remember. I just remember, I mean, literally being in so much pain. Like my knees and my ankles, I mean, it felt like they were going to explode. I mean, they woke me up in the middle of the night, like these growing pains. I don't know exactly. I probably grew 2 or 3 inches over the course of maybe a couple weeks or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I remember shooting up and not just hurting for a while.
And were you taller than Dad?
I eventually was. When I graduated high school, I was taller than him.
Okay.
It took me a while though. I grew like my sophomore, junior year of high school, so it took me a little bit later. But when I graduated high school, I was taller than my dad.
I do one day want to see the cartoon version of that story. You know.
Yeah.
So let's go back even further. Was pitching a passion right from the beginning, and how often were you out there throwing to your dad sitting on the bucket behind home plate?
As many times as I could, until he couldn't feel his shins anymore from me spiking balls. But yeah, it was all the time. I mean, we had a rubber. My mom and her side of the family had a construction company, so they brought a bunch of clay out to the backyard, and my dad went and got a rubber with 3 spikes, and we nailed it into the ground. And we had a chain link fence, and we paced off, how far. I think it was 45 feet when it was on the small field.
Yeah. And
it was kind of right at our gate, and my backyard kind of sloped down a little bit already anyway, so we didn't really need a big mound. But yeah, I was at the top of the hill by the oak tree, and my dad was sitting there on a bucket at the gate, and I mean, I just fired baseballs day and night at him.
Yeah.
all day.
One of the area scouts for the Rockies described you as almost frail when you were in high school. Is that an accurate depiction?
Oh, absolutely. I was 6'4", I think, when I graduated high school.
Yeah.
Maybe 140 pounds.
Wow.
I mean, I was really skinny. I mean, even I look back at pictures of me, my rookie year in Chicago, and I can't even believe how skinny I was then. I mean, I know I'm still, have a thin build now, but it's crazy looking back at those pictures. Yeah.